401. Need a motion to go into open session? Bender, seconded by Hepburn. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes. Hello.
Ahead of you. Hi, Mario. Hello, everybody.
Hey, Bob.
I just don't want to hear about not having to wear a mask. I'm in Vermont. They don't care.
Okay, decision made in closed session was to settle case number 20214040952 and case number 20210508883. And it was a 4-1 motion. Okay, you were absent, Bob.
Yes, sir.
And the time will be open.
7:07.
Thank you. Procedural issues. A recording of this meeting is being made and shall be kept for 30 days as public record. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance.
Okay, ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Basically breaking the middle with whoever was there.
I must stand a little over here.
Roll call. I am here. Jim Bender is here. Dwayne Moore is here. Mr. Vincelette is joining us via satellite. And Sunny is here. Need a motion to approve the agenda. There is a change in personnel. I'm going to remove Christina Chancy. Okay. With the updated agenda, do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion. Second.
Okay, motion by Moore, seconded by Bender. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Bob.
Yes, sir.
All right. Tropical Middle School, OPSC, application for funding, Caldwell Flores. Greg Norman, would you do the presentation?
Good evening. Is it okay if I stand in the middle?
Yes, please.
And I believe the trustee, can you see me okay?
I see you just fine, sir.
All right. Good evening to all of you. Appreciate the opportunity to come and give you some information pertaining to an application for one of your campuses that is currently before the state for funding. I believe in your handout, you should have a brief presentation with some pertinent information pertaining to what we're going to be discussing tonight. And I believe this will also be available. And you have it? Okay, fantastic. Hopefully you can hear me through the mask. Cool, everything's good? All right. Well, first of all, let's go over some of the past accomplishments that the district has achieved in reference to its relationship with the Office of Public School Construction. As you know, with Rosemont Elementary School, there is an ongoing project there now, the kindergarten project. We were able to get $4.9 million from the state for that particular project, and it is an ongoing project. In addition to that, back in 2018, we received $2.2 million in a design grant for that particular school, which obviously it has been rebuilt. And then in this upcoming November, we will receive a $7.2 million reimbursement. So all in all, $14.4 million that will be in the coffers of the district in regards to that project. So just wanted to start the meeting off on a positive note, let you know that we have had a successful relationship with the Office of Public School Construction, and we anticipate that that relationship will continue into the future. The reason why we're here tonight is that another opportunity is before us. That is the Tropical Middle School. If you go to page 2, what you have in front of you is what is called the Workload List. And basically what the Workload List is the scheduling of projects that the staff at the Office of Public School Construction, which is the division of the DGS, what they do is when an application is received, they date stamp it, and depending upon that date is the order in which they process the application. And as you know, the last successful bond was Prop 51, which was back in 2018. So prior to that, there was a number of years where there was no statewide monies available. And so the workload list or the backlog of projects just built and built and built. But once there was funds in the system, they started to process those applications. And to be fair and equitable, they processed those applications on a date order receipt. So as you see there, you can see with Tropical, we submitted it in August of 2018, and the superintendent and staff received notification in April of this year that that application was being worked on. And what you also see there is what the state believes to be the value of that application. So there's 2 components there, and I won't spend a whole bunch of time going over the 2 components, but one is your base grant, which is the $11.8 million, and the other is the state's half. So under new construction, as far as the program, the way that the program works is the 50-50 program. The local agency participates 50%, and the state matches that 50%. But if there are extenuating circumstances where the local agency cannot come up with their half of it, then the state will also pay that 50%, thereby making it 100% financing for the project. So we have, in years past, and we continue to submit information pertaining to the district's position as it relates to this category. And the district qualifies, so that's the reason why you see 2 categories there. But the total project cost based upon the application that is currently in line is $23.7 million. And we'll go into detail what that $23.7 million is constituted of. But wanted to let you know that this is a real project. The state has received it. They've recorded it. They've done an analysis of it, and based upon the application that was submitted, which includes the DSA, Division of State Architect Approved Plans, the approval letter from the California Department of Education, CDE, this is what they value that particular application to be worth. Okay, so that's why we're here tonight, or at least why I'm here tonight, to discuss this with you, to let you know what options are available in order for the district to make what I believe to be a critical decision, what the next steps are in regards to this particular application. Okay, so that's the information. This is interactive. If anyone has any questions, want me to get more details, please interrupt me, because I'm going to ask you at the end for some dialogue, and hopefully in days forthcoming, you can have some dialogue with the superintendent and staff to instruct her what your wishes are in regards to this particular application. So please ask me any questions if you need more information or clarification. All right. So that's the project. It is on the workload list. And so we have been notified that this project is an active project. So great, if it's an active project, produce it. What, I mean, why are you here tonight? Well, I'm here tonight because there's a problem. Okay? The problem is that the DSA approved plans on which this particular grant is based upon has expired. Okay? In order to get a grant from the state, in addition to a slew of paperwork, the two major ingredients are DSA approved plans and CDE approved plans. So when we submitted the application back in 2018, obviously we had DSA approval and we had CDE approval. Because of the lack of funding, it sat in line. Finally, the state passed the bond in 2018. But by that time, the 4-year window had expired for those DSA approved plans. So you would have to renew them. In communication with the architect has stated that the provider of the building, Ceramark, which was what the district wanted at that particular time, has gone out of business. And the design that they had was a proprietary design. So there's no way that you can renew that particular application. So the architects are stating we would have to redo the design in order to satisfy the requirement that you have DSA approved plans. Okay? So the architect has communicated that to our firm, to the superintendent and to staff, and we've been debating how to proceed. We took a look at the reimbursement that is coming back in November, the $7.2 million. That's all been accounted for. We took a look at some other previous, and we'll get into this in a bit, some other previous apportionments that the district had to see if there was any additional funds available from that pool of money in order to compensate the architect to move forward with the new design. So we have been bantering back and forth, and so the decision was made to bring it to you all and let you decide how you wish to proceed with this application. So this is the dilemma, for lack of a better term, that we are faced with, and that is we have the opportunity to make improvements at Tropical in the amount of $23.6 million. But we need to be able to compensate the architect, I'm not the architect, to be able to compensate the architect in order to do new plans. And so the situation is, where does the funds come from in order to accomplish that? And so that is the discussion that is before you this evening. Okay.
We had everything ready to go too also in 2018, right?
Yes, everything was ready to go in 18.
The lack of funds.
The lack of funds, exactly.
I mean, nobody can guarantee that.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing about this application, if I'm understanding your question correctly, is that there's what is called bonding authority. So under Prop 51, the reason why it is on the workload list is because it is within the bonding authority of Prop 51. So it is guaranteed to receive money because Prop 51 has already passed. They've already done the accounting saying, okay, that particular bond was worth $9 billion. These are all of the projects that fit within that $9 billion authorization. There's another list at the state, which is called applications received beyond bond authority. So there is a slew of other districts that came late to the party that are on that list, and they're the ones that are not guaranteed money. The projects that are on The workload lists are within the bonding authority. So you are guaranteed money. If you get out of line, there are other districts throughout the state that will probably send you a card saying thank you. Because that money, the $23.6 million, will then go to the next project that is in line. That's the way that the system works. Yes,
You said that our application was accepted in 2018.
yes.
Our original warrant says 2012.
Yes, I'm gonna, okay, let's address it right now. It's a very, very good question. So with this project, with the Hamilton Rosemont project, and with the high school. So back in 2012, the district submitted applications for what is called design and planning. Okay? Design and planning is a bifurcation of the original SFP program. So if you are a financial hardship district, and only financial hardship districts, they have the right to bifurcate their grant into two parts. The first part, design and planning, because in theory, you don't have the money to pay the architect, to pay the CDE fees, all of those fees. So what they do is they give you the money to hire the architect, to pay the architect, all the testing, all of that stuff. Then once you achieve DSA and CDE approval, then you can get back in line for your construction apportionment. So yes, back in 2012, the district submitted applications for 3 projects. One that is already complete, which is the Hamilton Rosemont Elementary School. So that project, as you can tell from the page 2, received $2.1 million in a design in 2012 along with Tropical. The district utilized those funds, paid the architect, got DSA approved plans, used a local resource to build the school, and then we're getting a reimbursement of $7.2 million. So this particular project started in 2012 with the state giving to the district monies to hire the architect to do all of the necessary steps in order to get the project to DSA and CDE approval. In 2018 is when, or President Gutierrez, is when it was ready with DSA and CDE approvals. So we resubmitted for the construction part of it.
Now, we got approval for, at the time, what it would cost to build the school, which would be $23 million.
Yes.
In today's dollars, that's not gonna go very far.
Yes, as most of you in the construction industry know, that there has been a huge escalation in steel prices and what have you. The way that the OPSC deals with it is that every year they have what is called a per pupil grant. There is a dollar amount associated with the grant that they give you. And so it's a cost of living adjustment, basically. So every year they give more dollars to that particular grant. So in their minds, the $23.6 million is in today's dollars. Now, there are many, many districts that have complained to the OPSC. They use what is called the Sierra West Construction Cost Index. For whatever reason, that is what the state of California decided to use in order to value construction. So if you go into the Sierra West Construction Cost Index and you look up 12 linear feet of sewer line, 3-inch pipe, they will tell you in that book how much it's supposed to cost. In the real world, it may cost something different, but in their minds, in order to create a fair playing ground, they have to determine, okay, what is a pipe worth in Fresno and what is a pipe worth in LA? We're going to make it worth the same regardless. And so it's not the first time I've heard that the grants that the state gives are not sufficient, but that is what the program is.
Right, I'm just, I just know that $23 million in 2018 would have got this built.
Okay.
I'm worried that we'll get a project started and we're gonna be $2-3 million behind at the end. Finish up the project.
Yeah, let me give some background to what the board president is speaking of. As part of the project, the DSA approved plans, there is a scope of work, okay? And let's get into that since it's been raised. If you go to page 3. Oh, hey, you beat me to the punch. Okay, so where did the $23.6 million come from? On page 3, there is intended to be built 26 classrooms, standard 960 square foot classrooms. There's going to be 2 SDC, special day class, non-severe classrooms built. There's going to be a whole bunch of site improvements, including a brand new library and brand new play fields. And there was another item in the original bid. And so the discussion is take the library out and just build the classrooms in order to try to get it to come within budget. So the task, as I see it, is the state's gonna give you $23.6 million. How can what is the maximum I can build within that amount of money? It may not be everything that you need. You, instead of having VCT tile, maybe there's something else that you substitute it for. You don't build the library. So there's ways from a construction perspective to try to get it to come within budget. But the big picture, as I see it, is that there is the $23 million there.
So basically you're saying that we can have change the, what we submitted before, as long as we stay within the budget of $23 million?
Yeah, so what I'm saying is the $23.6 million is generated by the number of classrooms and the loading, the statewide loading of those classrooms. And so the state loads each classroom at the middle school at 27 pupils per each grade level. And the grant is a little bit over $13,000 per each student. Yes.
So since we have to get another architect to do more plans, would you take into consideration in today's dollars versus the 26 million and the changes? Obviously, if you have to get a new architect to redesign, there would be some changes and modifications to kind of account for budgeting for today's dollars versus 2018 dollars.
Yes, and in the Monday meetings that the board president sits in on, there's a couple of entities there, the architect and your construction manager. And so this is something that they are looking at to try to get the new design, which would include the 26 classrooms, to try to get that to fit within today's dollars, within the budget. So the new design needs to be designed to fit within the current escalation of construction costs today. That is the task of the professional that the district has hired to make it fit. And it's just like with any budget. You have a fixed amount of money, like your grocery budget. I have a fixed amount of money. I want some Twinkies, I want potato chips, but I can only buy with the amount of money that I have.
But we have to come up with 26 classrooms.
Yes, in order to generate the 23.6 million. You can always go less than that. So say, for example, from an educational perspective, the superintendent decides, well, we really, based upon declining enrollment or whatever the case may be, we don't need 26 classrooms. Maybe we only need 20. So you then get the dollar amount for the 20 classrooms, which would be something less than the $23 million. So you build what you need, and then the state tells you how much money you're going to get for it.
So what are the costs for the new architect designs?
I did have a conversation with the architect. I've shared that with the superintendent. The architect understands the position that the district is in. It's a long-standing relationship between the architect and the district. His only thought is he needs to pay his subcontractors in order to produce the ESA and CDE plans. He says he's willing to do that for $200,000. And he will delay his other fees until the district receives the apportionment from the state. So he's willing to partner with the district in this regard. So if the CBO can't find, and we're gonna talk about, I'm gonna make a statement and I'll give you the backdrop to it. If the CBO can't find where other funds that have already been given to the district are, then you're gonna have to look for other areas to come up with it. The 200,000 to put yourself in a position to get the $23 million. Or, and the last slide is options. So I'm gonna be very, very upfront with you, what your options are and your next steps are. And then it's up to you to decide what you want to do. But I'm gonna tell you what the options are. Okay, so the $2 million, the state has already given to the district $2 million to design Tropico. It was given to you in 2012, and the CBO is trying to find where those funds were spent. If we can locate them, then it's a done deal. We just use the funds that the state has already given to us. If they're no longer there, then you're gonna have to come up with funds from a different source. Okay. All right.
So you're saying this $2.2 million was given to us somewhere and then it was used for something else, now we gotta find it?
It was used for something, but we
Other
don't know
than
what
the
it was
design
used for.
grants?
I'm sorry?
Other than the design grants?
I'll let the CBO answer that question.
So, 2012, the district was given $8.7 million roughly. And since basically I've started in December, one of the tasks I've been working on is, okay, we got this money in addition to, okay, where we just had other reports that are, updated reports. Okay, we gave you this money, where is it? Or what have you done with it? All that. So I've been piecing together the last decade or so of general ledger and financial activity reports, specifically Fund 35, what's in it, what happened to it, maxing, okay, here's invoices, warrant numbers, here's the actual copy of the invoice, so I have a, detailed record that I basically recreated, the wheel on a little bit of. It predates me by several years with the district in any capacity, so I'm, working on, pulling stuff out of storage and everything just to tie it all together of, we have this invoice, okay, here's the vendor, let's, see what it is and where it's going. So yes, it's a work in progress on that regard of, okay, I can see very easily top-down numbers of, okay, beginning of the year, here's the balance, end of the year, there's the end of the year balance, just, and I'm piecing together everything in the middle of, we started at X, how did we get to Y, and, all of the steps in between, and if it was a part of a project, which piece of the project did it go to and everything else, just so that at the end of the day, when all of the dots are connected, they're making a coherent picture instead of money up here, money down here, stuff in the middle, there's no detail to it.
So this is, it's a bigger question that you're asking, and maybe at a later point in time, we can come back and give more detail. But let me just say, at this particular board meeting, In 2012, $8.8 million was given to Southern County for the design and planning of 3 projects. Rosemont Hamilton Elementary, Tropical Middle School, and Rosemont High School. So the district received $8.8 million. We can't find the $8.8 million. Okay, so the state requires that the district on an annual basis submit how those funds have been allocated. And the former CBOs have done it. They haven't done it religiously every year. And the state did send to your current CBO all of the filings from the previous CBOs so that he could get a head start to try to locate where all of these funds are. Okay, so whether you move forward with Tropical or not, you do have an issue with accounting for the $8.8 million that you've already received. And that may be something Superintendent Gaines to talk with the board about at a later point in time. Okay, so options. So these are the options as it relates to Tropical. Your first option is the simplest one, withdraw the application. Just withdraw the application. No harm, no foul. Okay. If you want to try to pursue the $23.6 million, then slide 4 is you're gonna have to go back and get DSA, CDE approvals. And the architect is saying, I'm willing to partner with you. I will only charge you what I need to pay myself consultants to do that. So, very simple. You have A and B options, 1 and 2 options, but there is a twist to number 2. So number 1 is to withdraw the application. Number 2 is to move forward since we have the understanding that we're under the bonding authority of Prop 51, which is an envious position to be in, because there's no guarantee that there's going to be a successful statewide bond in 2022. There's one planned for 2022, but there's no guarantee that it's going to pass. Prop 13 did not pass. So it could be another 5 years before you would have this type of money from the state to address improvements at Tropical. Okay. So option one or option A, option B, and the twist to option B is you can come back later. You can withdraw the application and then resubmit it when the timing is better for the district. Okay. So that's what is before you. I appreciate the Superintendent Gaines for giving me the opportunity to address the board, to let you know what is before you. And now it's up to you to provide direction to your superintendent and to her staff as to how you want to proceed. She will then tell me what I need to do based upon what your decision is.
So in order for us to move forward and get CDE and DSA and all that approval, we have to find the $8.8 million or
No.
8.7?
You just need to find $200,000.
Well,
I think what, if I
Yes.
may interject, and please correct me, Mr. Norman, if I'm wrong, what I believe Mr. Norman has said to us, regardless of whether we move forward or not, we're sort of talking apples and oranges here. We will have to accommodate for that 8.8 million, and the state views it as we were given 2-some million for Hamilton Rosemont Elementary, 2-some million for Tropico, and 4-some million for the high school. Those are the only 3 projects those funds can be accounted to. So we may have spent the money on other projects, other things, but that is not, if I understand correctly, the state would look at that as money we owe back to the state, perhaps. But we are in the process of accounting for as much of that. Robert has been working diligently on that, and so we're talking that 8 point something will be done regardless of whether the board decides to, walk away from this project or not. That does not stop us or negate us from having to pursue what happened to the 8.6 million.
If we go ahead and reapprove and put out the 200,000 and get this process going, and we can't find anything on that 8 million, do we now get 12 million to try to build 26 classrooms?
The state will give you options. So there's what is called a 50, SAB, State Allocation Board 5006 form, which is a closeout form, and DELO, which is detailed listing of project expenditures. So what Robert or an outside consultant is going to do, they're going to locate all of the expenditures that they can for that $8.7 million. And let's say 2 million of it is unaccounted for. The district will be sanctioned for that $2 million, but they will give you over time to pay it back, or they will hit your eligibility. So what they will do is they will take it from your eligibility. So say, for example, right now you have 200 pupil grants that's worth $3 million. They'll just say, we're going to take that from you. So there won't be any cash out of pocket. You just won't have monies that would have normally been available to you. So there's many ways, and they are amenable to working out deals with the district. I did get a preview, a very short preview of what I believe is going to be one of the problems I did see in some of the material that CBL put together, where you guys have another elementary school. Some of the funds, like Superintendent said, when they gave you those funds, it was to make improvements, new buildings for 3 specific schools. Some of those funds were spent on a different school. And I think that's what we're going to find, is that whomever saw this big pool of money there and said, I'm going to pay this, pay that, pay this, pay that. And that's not what the money was designed for.
So you're confident that our $22 million is going to be funded to us?
Yes.
If we get everything ready.
If we can duplicate the application that is currently in line, the 26 classrooms, the 2 SDC classrooms, that money is there. If we make a decision for something less than that, because we don't need those many classrooms, then it will be less than the $23 million. But if we duplicate the application that is in line, that is the value of that application.
A couple weeks ago, we talked, and you were saying that at this point, we really don't get the 23, we get 17.
The question, and I hopefully I cleared that up with Superintendent Gaines. You were not at that meeting, but so let me clear it up now. So what I was saying at that meeting was the $23.6 million was there. One of the participants asked, okay, if we were to submit an application today, what would it be worth? And I went into this long diatribe about the fact that you have over 1,000 pupil grants tied up in the high school, which you have no plans for. And the fact that you tied up, and new construction is generated on a district-wide basis. So it's not site-specific. So if you've tied up 1,000 pupil grants at the high school, which you have no plans to do, that means that the middle school can't use them. And so I was saying that since the state took a look at the reimbursement for Hamilton, Rosemont, and if you recall, there were 9 portables that the state didn't know that the district brought onto the campus. Those 9 portables are considered inventory. So they said, we're gonna nick you because you now have surplus or you have capacity that we were not aware of. So in order to free up all of the pupil grants to utilize them for tropical, then we're gonna need to take some of those back from the high school. Okay, and the only way to do that is to do the accounting, not to pay any money, but to show the state of the $4.4 million that you gave us, we have legitimate expenditures that total X. So say there is $2 million unaccounted for. They're gonna ding you out of that 1,000 pupil grants, that probably take 200 pupil grants away, but we still have 800 left that we can then put to other projects that are more readily shovel-ready type of projects.
So basically, if we drop the high school project completely, wipe it off the board,
Yes.
then we could potentially just go ahead and finish up tropical and get the 20.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you're gonna, and like what Superintendent Gaines said, whether it's today or 2 or 3 years, you're eventually you're gonna have to account for the high school regardless.
Yeah, eventually.
Yes.
Okay, that helps a little bit.
All right, any other questions? Everyone's good? All right, thanks.
Thank you. Okay. Next, do we have anybody from CSA?
No, we don't.
RTA?
I'm busy. What? Oh, I'm sorry. Hi there. Trying to get ready for school.
Okay.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much. Got a few items tonight. Number one, I had the great opportunity to meet with our new teachers on Monday. I'm not sure of the final count, but it seemed like we had about 25 new teachers starting in the district this year. Very pleased that virtually all of the new teachers became members of RTA, CTA, and NEA. It seems about half of the teachers will be starting on a provisional credential or a waiver. So it's important to note that the teacher shortage in California will be a serious issue over the next decade. I urged and stressed to those teachers on a temporary credential that they need to work diligently on earning their preliminary credential. Second item, of course, school begins next week. I know that's a huge surprise to everybody. Teachers report on Tuesday for meetings and training. Students report on Wednesday. As always, many teachers have been on campus already several days preparing for school. Teachers continue to invest their own time and their own money for their students. Number three, we continue negotiations with the district on Friday of this week. We're about halfway through the updated proposals. I hope we can get through the rest of the proposals on Friday with tentative agreements on many of the items. With any luck, Mrs. Gaines will accept all of RTA's proposals, as RTA has accepted many of the district's proposals, and we can get negotiations wrapped up in one or two more meetings. And let's see, we started this whole process in February of 2020, so it's a long time coming. It'd be great to complete the process to the benefit of both parties before we get far into this school year. Because you know what, I have students I need to teach. I don't need more meetings to go to. And I'm sorry, Mr. Vincelette, do you hear me?
I hear you just fine, sir.
Okay, thank you. And number four, lastly, I do have questions on the first reading tonight on the agenda of board policies, Board Policy 6158 and AR 6158. This policy can have significant impact on classroom instruction. RTA has not had any discussions with the district on this policy, so I'm interested in any of the board discussions tonight and future discussions with Mrs. Gaines. That'll be it, because I ran out of paper. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr.
Alrighty, well, Greg covered a little bit of what I was gonna talk about in terms of new and ongoing construction, what I've been devoting my time towards. So there is stuff I need to look into, obviously there. I don't think anybody has any questions on that. We are, somehow we blink and we're at the end of summer. School is right around the corner. My office is, processing and getting through as many, RFPs and everything as we can, so that, when teachers and classified, everybody returns back to campus, hopefully everything that they, ask for, is in, and we're not, 2-3 weeks into school, and then, finally the Amazon truck comes by and, everybody can rejoice. So, yeah, just wanna, hopefully, start of the year goes well and start school and everything like that.
Thank you. Assistant Superintendent in Instructional and Curriculum.
Good evening, everyone. Oh, should we use this? Let's talk loud. As you can tell, our wall of backpacks has depleted quite a bit. We used to have about 4 or 5 more rows on Monday. I had 2 different times that parents could come pick up backpacks for our foster youth and homeless students, as well as a few others. And we gave out 140 backpacks on Monday. And I have another parent coming in and picking up 6 or 8 tomorrow that wasn't able to come pick them up for her family. And so we are at about 148 going out already. I plan on setting up another day for them to come on in and come to pick up the backpacks if they haven't done so yet. And then once we're done with that, if we still have backpacks, I'm gonna distribute them equally to the different school sites to give out to students that might be in need. I'll keep a couple for foster youth and homeless kiddos to pass out in the Ed Services office. But I can tell you the parents and kiddos were so excited to be out, coming out and getting their backpacks and ready for the start of school. So it was just honestly just the funnest experience for me. I just enjoyed seeing their bright smiles and the appreciation from the parents. So it's a great experience for everyone.
Who's passing them out at the library?
That,
Who's passing them out at the library? Are we doing that?
I know,
Nope.
that's just the Bakersfield, yeah.
Bakersfield was?
Yeah, our backpacks are all the same, but they're very high quality. The parents were very impressed with the quality of the backpacks this year and the supplies that were inside. So it was really successful. I did recommend that they put with Sharpie their names on them, so they all look exactly alike.
Yeah.
With some kind of something. And you just, so, let me grab one out. Each one of these boxes has 5 inside that are completely full. So this is the backpack, and I can, if you can see, it's not a nice material. It's high quality. It's not one of those cheap ones that you can get at Walmart. It's gonna last. It's gonna last the kiddos, students.
You put 100 pounds of books in there, huh?
Huh?
You put 100 pounds of books in there, huh?
I'm thinking so. It also has some really quick, nice little contraptions in here where you can hook and plug in your Chromebook and things like that to charge inside of the backpack.
Is that a battery pack?
Yeah, I don't think that's a battery pack, but it just has a little charging port, so you don't have to take it out of your backpack. You can just have it set up inside. So inside of each backpack is a nice binder, and inside of that binder we have a pencil pouch. And each pencil pouch has, I believe, 2 highlighters, 2 blue pens, 2 blue black pens, and 5 pencils that are pre-sharpened. And then there's 2 spiral-bound notebooks in each one of them. So it was a pretty nice thing to pass out to those students that were able to come and pick up, and then hopefully we get some more to come on and check them out. Let's see what else. We've had our new teacher orientation, as Mr. Coleman over here stated. We got to meet the new teachers. We did as well, and that was on Monday. We had the class science curriculum training for our kindergarten through 2nd grade Teachers, we had 28 teachers that attended that training, and I was there for almost all of it, and it was a really good training. And almost as good as the Kern County one, but not quite. But it did walk them through how to use the curriculum, and it went along pretty well with the NPSS training that we've had. The county superintendent of schools, so the curriculum really goes well with the strategies and that the Kern County office has provided our teachers, so that was great to see. Today they had Aries and Tech training that Dan provided for our new teachers, so that they're all ready with all of the tech pieces that they need every day. In the next few days, we'll have McGraw Hill Social Studies for our elementary teachers for the new curriculum that was purchased. And at 6 through 12, we'll have Into Lit, Bedford English for 9th through 12th grade, Nat Geo Science, Social Studies training for 6 through 8. And then on Friday will be the FOSS science training for 3rd through 5th grade. And then IRE training for K through 2. Parents are coming in daily to enroll their students, so our enrollment office is booming every single day. I'd like to send a huge shout out to the office staff and ed services. They are phenomenal. Anna, April, Noemi, Yesenia, they will all just jump up and help whoever they can. They're just doing such a great job. Just reminding parents that ed service office continues to be open daily for enrollment for this school year, and make sure you come on out soon because schools start pretty quickly. So that's all I have. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Leslie. Superintendent, Human Resources.
Good evening, Human Resources. We are also very, very busy. We have numerous classified positions that we're looking to fill, and we're doing interviews daily. We are continuing to, we're only about 3 teachers short, special education teachers. And on the consent item down at the bottom, there is a contract for, we really felt like we had really exhausted our ability around here in our Antelope Valley. So Cheryl Taylor, our director of special ed, had gone out to several different agencies, to find some teachers. And some of the pluses for that is we do find credentialed teachers. So we still go through the interview process with them to make sure that they're teachers that we, really want to provide for our students. We have found some really high quality teachers, not only for our special ed, but also just in interviewing this summer. We have found a lot of teachers, coming to us with credentials. We do still have some that are on the PIP-STIPS interns, but we do have many teachers that are coming to us with preliminary credentials, even some clear credentials. So I'm very excited about, our new staff that's coming. I think they're really going to be a compliment to our already fabulous staff that we have here in Southern Kern. So we are busy, but we certainly are here to support our school sites and, as we get ready to start on Wednesday. So looking forward to moving forward.
Thank you, Ms. Hargis. Superintendent Gaines.
Thank you, President Gutierrez. Good evening and welcome, everyone. I want to thank our psych admin who have joined us this evening. Thank you all for coming out. I know that they are very, very busy at this time of the year preparing their school sites for the return of our wonderful students next Wednesday. I want to wish Mr. Ben Salette a happy birthday tomorrow.
Thank you.
Happy birthday, Bob, and I hope you have a great day. Also in your packets, board members, you received a copy of the Starbase article that talks about Southern Kern Unified School District and also Mojave Unified School District. Our students, we are sending 12 of our freshman girls. Mrs. Akanini is coordinating this program with Edwards Air Force Base. And I want to thank Ms. Amira Flores, the Starbase director, who has arranged for 12 of our freshman girls to participate 2 days a week, right at the end of the closing of Rosemont High School, in a program that will immerse our girls in a variety of STEM-related topics such as 3D computer design, robotics, physics, and other aerospace activities. If you know anything about the number of girls we have in the nation participating in engineering, it's very, very low. So anything we can do as a school district to encourage our females to be interested and to have exposure to an engineering and design program, we want to be a part of it. I also want to thank the superintendent of Mojave Unified School District, Dr. Catherine Aguirre, who has agreed to transport our 12 girls. She will pick them up here at Rosemont High School on Tuesdays and Thursdays. They will ride along with her team of girls to Edwards, and then she will bring them back here and drop them off at the high school. So thank you, Dr. Aguirre, for being so gracious. As we get very near the opening of school next Wednesday, I want to encourage our parents, as Ms. Lacey said, to please get your students enrolled immediately. Our principals and assistant principals are working hard to set up those classes, and so they need to know what the number of our student count is going to be. As we get very near the opening of school next Wednesday, I want to let our K-2 parents know that for the first 2 days of school, providing you are in mask, you will be able to walk your students to the outside of the classroom door, drop your student off, and then leave the campus. We're only going to do this for 2 days for our K-2 parents, and all the rest of our parents just need to drop your child off outside the school gates at the designated gate, and these gates will be labeled for our parents who are driving their kids to school, for the parents whose children ride the buses, and those who walk their children. So please look out for those designated gates. We are calling this the Year of the Child. I can't think of a better time for us to really address the needs of all of our students after 18 months. And we're still dealing somewhat with the pandemic that our teachers, our classified staff, and especially our students have had to deal with. So our goal is to have lots of learning this year at our sites, after school clubs, math and reading academies, sports, field trips, and other fun activities as planned. PE, actual PE instruction will be back at both Rosemont Elementary and West Park, where the students will receive PE twice a week. So parents, I want to ask, if you have an elementary student at West Park or RES, please provide them a water bottle on the days that you notice that they have physical education. And please look out for additional information from me coming in the next few days prior to the opening of school. Thank you.
Oh, I had a question.
Okay.
On the Star Girls, I'm calling them Star Girls.
Yes, it's MISS, it's MISS, and I actually forgot the actual breakdown of the,
There you are.
It means Mighty in STEM Sisters.
yes.
Right,
I
but I just, we're not gonna violate any Title IX stuff because it's,
She has a grant specifically from Bakersfield or Kern County that's focusing on getting the girls more involved in STEM because it's a definite need in the workplace to have more females in STEM and getting them exposed to everything they can do in STEM. They're gonna be working with actual like rocket scientists. They're building a rocket as part of a contest, like a real rocket.
I totally agree. I mean, I'm just,
No, not right now. It's specific for the grant. It has to be for women.
I
I know we
only
get
look
worried.
at the other side.
Yeah, we get worried when we hear something that's just one sex, don't we? Yeah, but right now it's what she wrote a grant specifically for that.
Thank you.
And Mr. Gutierrez, I just want to let the board know that one of the guidelines that Mrs. Akinimi and Mr. Shevlin and I have discussed is we want to send a very diverse group of females to that training. So, you know, we're just picking the sort of those girls who we know will go and love it and give it their best.
Maybe we'll see them on TV someday. We designed this. No, I totally get it. It's good, great.
I think it's wonderful to have something that separates the sexes.
We're like bringing them together in STEM.
Well, what I'm hoping it could also do as well is stimulate their interest in some of the STEM, where maybe they could go feed into one of our CTE programs called manufacturing, where they learn CAD, they learn how to like make things, learn how to work a lathe and all the saws and things that we have in manufacturing. So I'm really hoping that that can fuel that interest and then maybe feed into some of our CTE programs, or even our robotics club.
Great. Okay, board communications. We'll start with Sunny.
Hello. I'm very excited for the school year. I'm happy that we're going back in person. I know a lot of people didn't think this is gonna happen, so let's just be patient and have a good year.
Okay, so I just want to say good luck to all our site admin and teachers for the beginning of the school year next week. I am a bus driver at Mojave Unified, and when I heard about them transporting some of their girls and taking them to the MISS program, the first thing that popped in my head is like, why isn't Rosemont doing this? And now here we are, so thank God. I love that. Other than that, I really don't have much, except everybody's always talking about STEM, science, technology, engineering, math. Paw Patrol was on the TV this morning at home, and it was funny when they went on a commercial break. They tell you that your child at 2 or 3 years old, just by watching that show, is already learning about STEM, you know, and all these different things. There was one about a doctor, I don't remember what it was called, but when it went on commercial break, because I was just curious to see what it was, and I was enjoying it. And like, I'd never heard of NGSS until last week, and I don't know if it's the same acronym or not, but this show's talking about science and mixing things together, and it said NGSS on the screen, so I just thought that was really cool. And I had to share it. Thank you. Just watch Nickelodeon.
Ms. Bennett?
Me too. I'm excited this year to get back and get the kids back into school, and I just want everybody to enjoy their school year and enjoy the time, and let's just have fun again, and let's have a good, successful year. Looking forward to it.
Mr. Vincelette, you have anything?
Well, yeah, I'm really glad to see the program for the girls. They need to, I think, understand it's not, being a techie is not just for the boys. And, you know, being a techie, for a male going into the technical side, is no different than for the girls. So hopefully that will, as Barbara says, get these girls interested in that technical side of the house. I got 3 techies in my house. They're all boys, but I sure would like to see the girls get there. One of the things I do monitor, as everybody knows, the Facebook page. This is for the parents out there. If you, there was a comment made that I didn't get the information on the backpacks. So I keep telling everybody, please call your students, school, and talk to the administrators to let them know so that you can get on the email address so that you're not left out. And we know that's going to happen, but I emphasize that a lot on there. And I think all of us should do the same when we see it. So as far as that goes, I kind of miss being with you guys because, you know, there is a lot that I miss. But I will miss Vermont more because the lake temperature is about 75 and the outside temperature is 81. You know where I'm at every day. I'll leave it alone. Other than that, look forward to being back in person. We'll be back in town on Saturday, late Saturday evening. And I probably will try to attend 1 or 2 of the school openings on Wednesday. So that's where I'm at. Thanks.
Thank you, Bob. I just want to echo what everybody else has said. Everybody's I know jumping for joy to be back in school. I know my grandkids are. They can't wait for next week. So, good luck with that. And I have a kind of a question presentation for the board and the audience. Your little sheet that was handed out to you guys earlier, that is our Rosemont bell. That used to sit in front of the auditorium in front of the old Rosemont School. So it has been taken down because someone tried to steal it. And we'd like to put it on the new campus with all the plaques that are there from 1924 or 8. It's in the 20s. 1924? So we want to get the whole history of the bell and where it started and where it has gotten through Rosemont schools. So if you look on, for those that don't have one, this is the platform that it'll sit on, which is a brick or block pillar that will have the plaques on the sides and on the front. And then the bell will sit on top of that. It's almost like what's there now, but over at the other school. Now, we had a discussion on where to put it. My first thought was, when I first pulled in the parking lot, was to put it out front where everyone could see it as they drove in and as people walked up to the office and to the, as the kids walked into school. Raleigh brought up a couple of concerns about putting it out front. One, of course, that it's already been tried to be stolen once. So security for the bell is one of the problems. Because I thought about putting it like right there where the flagpole is, which would look really neat, but Raleigh brought up a good point of the security of it. The other one was, if you go to the school and the big gates open up, there's that planter area in the middle where as kids are coming in, that would be the first thing they see. Which could be a really nice option, and it's behind locked gates, and I believe there's a camera right down the corner that can actually see that. So that's one place. Now, Santiago and Natalia, I met with them yesterday, and they showed me a place that they want to put it, which would be just north of the cafeteria, where there's going to be a grass area that will be put in behind the new classrooms that are being built now. And it's right next to the shade structure where the picnic benches are outside of the multi-purpose room. Putting it there, they could also use it as everybody will get to see going over to the cafeteria, and when we have assemblies, people will see it going through. And they could also use it as a history lesson on our Rosemont School. So I wanted to bring this to the board to show them where we have looked and have everybody get their input, and then we will, as a team, along with the school, decide where to put this bell. But it really needs to be put up at Rosemont School, at the Rosemont Elementary School. Question?
Why not the first grass area that's by that first, when you walk in the gate by the office? There's the grass right there, and then anybody walking by right there can see it.
That's the, if you look on this,
That's the one.
She don't have it.
oh, no, if you look at this, that would be this area.
Thank you.
Martin, what school is this for?
Rosemont Elementary.
Okay, I thought it was, but I hadn't heard that. And since I didn't get a copy of anything, I'll pick that up, Barbara, on you on Monday.
Trying to see where the
On this-
numbers are.
We have, we have yours.
Three's the one that we're telling them.
Where's this three?
No, number two should be the one, I think it was labeled number two.
You want it by the cafeteria or?
The one by the
administration
cafeteria.
building?
Did they what?
You want it by the cafeteria?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's number 3.
Okay, that's number three.
Oh, it's number three, they
I
changed.
think
They
we
changed
should,
the number.
Okay, they changed the number in that.
I think we should put it there because that's where it was.
Mr. Gutierrez, if I can just add something. The reason that we were looking at the one east of Building I was because it is adjacent to the table and the seating area that's already there. And that is going to be a grass area, part of the construction. And we thought, what I remember most about the Bell was my first year here, I was invited by the Historical Society. And one of the first things they asked me at one of their evening meetings was, where is the Rosemont Bell? And it was very important to them. And I was like, oh, I'm not sure, but if there's a bell to be found, we'll find it. And so, of course, when I asked Raleigh, I immediately saw Raleigh have this grin on his face. And he said, I know where the bell is, Barbara. So I said, that's good news. So we thought by placing it on that grass area adjacent to the tables and the benches, et cetera, that if there was like an event on that campus, whether it's parents, students, historical society, community members, whatever, that would be a great area for them to be able to sit and enjoy the bell and maybe reminisce and talk about all, the history behind that bell. And I think there is something to be said about placing it inside the campus because there has been a security issue with it previously, years ago. And I think if we're going to spend money, because it will cost money to erect that design, that we want to make sure that it's in a secure location and try to protect it to the best we can. So that's why we were leaning toward that grass area.
And that's option number 3?
Yes, it's the little, this one right here. So
Yeah,
I can't read the number on it, to be
Okay.
honest.
I see it.
That's option. So this is not an action item, this is just information that I was asked to do some surveying, I guess you'd call it. So, yeah, I've been kind of busy at a lot of the Monday morning construction meetings, the Wednesday meetings, I'm getting meeting now. Meeting with our financial people, trying to salvage the Tropico money. At one point, I was so frustrated that I just threw my hands up and said, I'm done. Because they keep changing the rules and they tell you, okay, here's this money, get it planned, we get it planned, we get it done. And they hold us up until the plans are out of date. So now we gotta pay for plans again. That is so frustrating that, well, that's government funding, so. I'll leave
Mario,
that.
that's just the government for you.
Yeah, I know. Anyways, this is something for you guys to chew on. So, we'll, revisit this, as we go along. But I'd like to get it within the next couple of months to finalize. That way, as soon as they get all the, getting ready to do all the dirt work and everything and grass and everything there, maybe we'll have, time and then we've got to get bids on where they're gonna put it, and how much it's gonna cost us and all that. So there's still more stuff to come. So think about this and we'll see what we have to do on that later. Yes.
Mr. Gutierrez, we will be getting a bid for the cost of this. I don't know what you would call it, bell and enclosement, probably in the next few days. And we may have to, because there is a little bit of a sense of urgency on everybody's part. We may be bringing this back to the board on August 18th for a decision.
Okay.
And where would the financing come from? Is this general funds? Is it site funds? Is it ASB or donations?
We'll see on that, depending on what the financial hardship would be for. We may end up having to go to, get donations on it. I don't know. But it will get put up somehow.
I can't make a donation. I'm just asking, I can't.
Yeah.
Because I'm on the board now.
Yeah, as long as your name doesn't get. Okay, you can donate as long as you do not use the donation as a means of advertising whatever you do. So it doesn't give you an advantage financially. Okay, do we have any requests for
No public comment.
no public comment? Public, do you guys have any comments? Okay, consent items A through H. Does anybody have any questions?
I just see a typo, and it's not really a question, but, for the vendor contract, it says it goes until 6/30/21, which is passed, so I know it's supposed to say 22. Do you see what I'm talking about on page 13?
I missed that.
There's that H. Contract, effective date.
That's for the.
For 360?
Yeah.
Now that you brought that up, Dan, can you explain what 360? I mean, I saw what it's on there, but it's kind of vague.
I'm sorry?
Dad doesn't know who's-
This is a teacher,
I think this is your,
the special education teacher.
Oh,
360.
These are the contracts for, so what we did was, Mrs. Taylor, Director of Special Education, she went out and, found some different, contracting agencies. And so, she was able to find some teachers. And so, these are contracts
Okay.
for us to be able to hire those teachers, in the classroom. That's, both D and H.
Yeah, but you can't run a contract from August 9th, 21 to
It's
June
just a typo.
30th, 21.
There's a typo in the date.
Does that mean June 30th, 2022? Page 13.
Yeah, it would be reverted back rather than forward.
Oh, yeah. That's a typo. And that's a typo on our part versus the contract.
I was just saying that it says final contract with superintendent secretary by July 30th, 21.
Now, is this one teacher?
No, that's two go recruit teachers.
We're gonna pay somebody to recruit teachers for us? Isn't that what our job is?
This is specifically for one teacher, but we don't pay,
We do not pay benefits for them. So if they're part of an agency, we pay their salary, but the agency will pay their benefits.
Their stipend.
Yes.
Yeah, that's kind of like they're almost like a subcontractor.
yes.
But they are hired, some of them are hired, and I'm not sure if this is on the, but some of them are actually hired by, the agency simply finds them and then sends them to the district where we interview them and we hire them. And then there are other agencies that have like a finder's fee. We don't have any of those at this point, but they have a finder's fee, say, to
$10,000 or $15,000 to say, hey, we found you this teacher, if we were to contract with them. So we kind of tried to stay away from those. But many of them are just sending teachers to us to be able to hire. And then there's another.
So this isn't a teacher that's coming on site and teaching?
This is, yes.
Yes.
Yes, and
And we don't have
so,
a problem with that, with contractors, with anything, RTA?
I mean, they're teachers, and so, this one is a teacher that we will pay their salary, and the, company pays their benefits.
I mean, if it's legal, I don't know.
Yeah, it absolutely is, I mean, they've been doing it for many years, but.
So it's not an agency that's fine, it is actually a teacher coming to teach.
Yes.
Do you guys something to say?
Honestly, it's just,
Oh, no, Jim,
oh,
because you're not nervous.
Well, I'm out of order. Am I being asked to, am I allowed to ask questions?
We're asking.
I don't know anything about this. I don't know the legality of it. I don't think it's illegal, but I certainly, from a teacher, from the RTA standpoint, it would have been appropriate that we had been informed and consulted about this, so I could ask for legal input as to what it is. My question is this an employee of the Southern Kern Unified School District or of ATX?
This will be our employees.
It is our employee. So is the teacher a member, will the teacher be a unit member of RTA?
That will be.
They're not our employee.
No, they're not on with you.
No, a unit members, not a member of the association. Will they be a member of the bargaining unit?
Yes.
I don't,
I don't know about that.
they're not our employee.
They're a contractor.
They're a
If we're not
subcontractor.
paying all their benefits,
They're a
then they're a
subcontractor.
subcontractor, basically.
They would have to be.
They would have to.
Okay.
They're not being paid through payroll.
And if that's fine with me. I just want to make sure.
Oh, it's not fine with us.
No.
We understand the need to fill these positions. We understand the difficulty to fill these positions. It would have been appropriate for RTA to be consulted about moving down this road for filling these positions, so that RTA could get proper consultation on it.
Ms. Harvey's going to interject for a moment. Jim, let me just say that I'm not exactly sure how long these positions have been flown, but it has been flown extensively for some time. Not only some of the positions for our teaching staff, but even some of our CSEA classified positions flown and reflown and flown again. Our issue, Jim, is, and I can tell you, I have knowledge of this firsthand. We certainly are not the only district who is missing a teacher or two at this time. Fortunate thing for us is that we still have a few days to go before we open. Some districts have opened already, missing teachers at every site. So we have to do what we need to do to meet the needs of our students. First and foremost, meet the needs of our students.
I don't disagree or contest any of that. I understand the districts have been posted, and for teachers within the district, they've been posted for people to apply from outside the district, and it's, as I mentioned in my presentation, the difficulty we have with filling teaching positions and how it's going to be difficult over the next several years. But now we're talking about opening up a can of worms with bringing in private contracting services that impact the bargaining unit, the exclusive bargaining unit within the district, and it's being done without any knowledge of the exclusive representative, RTA, or any consultation on it. So I may not be able to have any input on this or not. I don't know, because it's the first I'm hearing about it. I should be afforded the opportunity to get input from CTA Legal about this process and its impact on my unit members.
Jim, just to piggyback on what you're saying, some of this development has happened really, really recently. We had, for example, a couple of people, more than two, that we had already interviewed with us. They had signed contracts with us, and then they have a change of mind. I'm not coming last minute. So this probably wouldn't have happened, or we would not have had to resort to this. We don't like it, Jim. We're not happy about having to do this. But at the same time, at this point, August 4th, our number one priority is our students. And so if we have to bring in a couple, 2 or 3 teachers that way, so be it. In the meantime, we are, we still have the positions flowing. We still are interviewing, every day. We
And
will
if you-
interview.
And if the district gets highly qualified applicants in the next 7, 10, or 30 days, are they able to break the contract with ATX over this, over the teachers they've said we are going to have for the next year?
I believe there are some clauses in those contracts, Jim, that allow some possible termination on either part. There may be some slight stipulations in there on the number of days that have to be taken into consideration before the contract can be just dropped.
Yeah, Jim.
And I apologize to have this discussion in a board meeting.
Right.
It should be a discussion at separate.
There is a termination if we decide not, that we find somebody else, they can be terminated within 25 days.
But let's be clear, they are not members of the bargaining unit.
Right.
Therefore, they are not covered under our contract.
Right.
So we could have a special ed teacher where, let's say our class size is a limit of 15 students in a special ed classroom, the district would be welcome and have the ability to put 25 in there.
Yes, but we would never do that.
But that would be, they are not obligated to follow the guidelines of the contract. So there are serious ramifications that need to be considered here.
Right, but we would not.
So let's say, hey, you're coming from the outside, you're not in the bargaining unit, we're gonna give you 25 students because you're not part of our TA kind of deal.
And
I just think that's unfair, that's like, I wouldn't say common sense.
I don't say the district would do that. I agree with Mr. Gutierrez. I agree with Mrs. Gaines. I know our first commitment is towards the quality education of the students, but you understand where my concerns are coming from. Once we begin allowing the subcontracting of services, whether it's within the RTA bargaining unit or the CSEA bargaining unit, which is a much more concerning issue because of those types of services, this is a very concerning can of worms we're opening. I understand the need. Believe me.
I mean, just understand that we would not have taken this route if we could have, earlier this week, we had 11 spots to fill. I mean, that's significant, and we're talking about, we want quality education for all our students. We want to make sure that, all of our students are safe, in our special ed, those are some of our most at-risk students. So we want to be able to find qualified applicants. And, unfortunately, this was the route that we took, when we said, okay, you know what? All of our surrounding districts are having a really hard time filling spots. And we're having a hard time filling spots. And this was, an avenue that we thought, hey, these people can offer us some assistance, and send some folks our way. There are some people that we interviewed that we said, we're not interested in those people. There are some that we said, yes, we, are very happy to have them as part of our district. So, like I said, we would not have taken that route if we could have found them, but they're just not out there right now.
I appreciate all of that. I would have especially appreciated having this conversation a week ago with the district. Thank you.
So I need a motion.
One more thing. Our leasing, classroom leasing, I started this when I first got on board. are these classrooms over here, are they paying for themselves? We were renting them out or doing something with the college or, I mean, we're spending, what, $4,800 a year for these classrooms. Are
The
they?
ones immediate with the former Ascension
Yes.
campus? Yes, the agreement with the AV union covers the lease, yeah.
It's still going and it covers their lease?
Yeah.
And is there any other ones we have that we need to say enough is enough and let's return them? That
Not
aren't
that-
being used?
Not that have been brought to my attention, I know, when I came on in December, I believe either December or January, that we, sent some back with, mobile modular that were no longer in use, that, we weren't using them, we don't need them, please, do what you need to, get them off our property, for lack of a better term. But, yeah, so, to my knowledge, we're not, any of our, modular leases are for buildings that are, in use and not, we're just rolling contract year after year, just out of habit.
And they're paying for it, they're paying for themselves.
Yeah.
Because I'd like to go back and at the time of redo the lease and try to reword some of this stuff that they've got in here. Basically, they're telling us that it's gonna cost you twice as much to return that thing, and you need to put it in almost new condition. So it's better off for us to just keep paying them the $5,000 a year than approach the returning it. But somewhere along the line, if they're not being used, and I thought there were several that aren't being used, but if we are using them and they're paying for themselves, fine, but I want to double check and make sure we are.
Yeah, I will follow up with the sites and facilities to make sure that,
And then see if there's any way we can reword this stuff in the lease to where, that's just not right. And we gotta pay twice as much for them to come haul the piece of garbage off, but then we gotta make it into new condition.
Yes.
Which is not right, especially having them for 10 years or whatever we have.
Actually, after a certain amount of time, we want to turn them back in, they can say.
Well, we haven't got there yet, at least not that I've heard of. And
What was it, 16 that we pulled out of Rosemont Elementary?
how long ago?
14 or 16?
that was working.
14.
Yeah.
Those, actually, a lot of people around town bought them, and they paid to have them moved.
Well, Academy has a question.
Yes.
If you guys, before you get rid of the portables, you could throw a couple my way if they're still usable. We're getting kind of like tight over there.
Well, the problem with us is the contract. I mean,
But I mean, if you're talking about sending them back, that they're no longer of use to whoever has them, just call. Because I could use it.
When Westpark uses
Yeah.
every single
We're
classroom.
getting really
Yeah,
tight.
Westpark-
There's no empty room.
Yeah, no, I know, and we only have 2 spots for 2 more portables, and that's it.
I just found out in junior class, that's like 200 students. I was like, whoa.
Freshman 265, it's almost 250 something for
I will
sophomores. Yeah, we have like 860 or something.
You have to take this back, because we're going to do the second meeting.
return and get
Ms.
the new ones.
Second, to my knowledge, we do not have any extra portables. Even the ones that the consortium has leased, they lease them all.
That's what
And
I have
they are
too.
getting ready to kick open again adult education very,
Well,
very
just for
soon.
future then.
Yes,
Yeah.
If you find something, kind of think about us over there.
okay, thank you.
Thank you,
We will.
guys.
Okay.
Thank you.
I make a motion to accept.
Okay, motion by Bender,
Second by Moore.
second by Moore, all in favor?
Aye.
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 5 ayes. First reading, review of approval of special release board policy, and that, we just got a copy of it this evening.
Yes.
Would you like one?
No, I have,
Oh, you have
it was part of the packet. so-
No, no, this was,
No, this is,
this is sort of this is not the board policy, it's just an explanation. Mr. Torres, Miss Lacy and I worked on this yesterday. Miss Lacy added more things to it today, and we probably would, this would be kind of a little work in progress for the next day or so until we finalize it and get it on the website. We have a little explanation on the website, but this is just the Southern Current interpretation of CSBA Independent Study Board policy that is part of the new law, AB 130. And where that stems from is currently, as I'm sure you are all aware, there is no distance learning offered, and Southern Current will open up with in-person learning plan for all of our students. However, that said, we are fortunate enough in Southern Current to have an independent study school. And so whether we were in COVID or not, we have those students who the shoe doesn't always fit. So we have those students who do perform better or for whatever reason need to be in an independent study program. And so this is basically saying that parents, the option, there is no distance learning, but if there is a reason your child needs to be in a program other than in person, we do have and will follow AB 130 and provide independent study for those students who qualify. That's basically what that's saying, and it explains what we will provide in that program for our students.
And I believe Mrs. Lacy just offered to email it to me.
I'm doing it right now.
So, yeah, I would just like to do that as well. Thank you.
And we will be adding a little bit more to it, Jim, in the next couple of days. It's a work in progress, really.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Moore,
Second?
second by Hepburn.
It's the first read.
All in favor?
It's approval, so.
It's an approval. It says reading and approval. Okay. Sunshine SKUSD's proposal dated July 30th, 2021 with CSCA. Ms. Gaines?
Yes, sir. In your packet, you received the proposal from the Board of Trustees, Southern Kern Unified School District 2, CSEA, as we open negotiations in the very near future with our association, our California School Employees Association. So we're looking forward to that. If you have a chance, as you can see, there are several articles. I'm not going to read all of that, but several articles that are on and up for negotiation this year.
I'll make a motion that we recess for public hearing. So need a second. Second by Vendor at
8:43.
Okay, do we have any public comment?
It's hot today.
Yeah? Okay, I'll make a motion that we go back to our, resume our meeting.
Second.
Second by Vendor, all in favor?
Aye.
And
8:44.
8:44. Okay, Sunshine SCCA's proposal to Southern Kern Unified School District dated July 26, 2021. And I will make a motion to recess for public comment. Mr. Bender?
I'll second
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Any public comment on that portion of the CSEA contract?
It's real hot.
Okay. I'll make a motion to reconvene.
Second.
second by Bender, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
At 8:45.
8:40, I still have 8:44.
Approve agreement with, how do you say that?
Laser fish.
The what?
Laser fish.
Laser fish.
Okay. Mr. Irby.
All right. The reason I wanted to talk about this one separate than just, dumping out on the consent agenda with everything else, is that, pending your board approval, it may be something that, as it gets expanded, then you see the name again and again, and then you're like, we already approved this, why are we approving it again? Like, what is happening here? Overall, a broad overview of what it is. It's a software as a service where it creates, gives organizations the opportunity to create a repository of information, and it has expanded from that to being able to create interactive forums. And once upon a time, everything was just on a server. Now it's cloud-based, which allows for unlimited storage. I've worked with it in the past. In previous district. It's on here as just 7 licenses. We'd like to pilot it for our business office and our special ed office, where especially in business with payroll and in special ed, we have documents that need to live forever. And keeping everything with paper, we have to figure out storage, and then we have to figure out, okay, we got payroll records we got to keep forever. We got to go dig them out in 25 years. Was it stored somewhere where it was climate controlled, or am I trying? Is someone trying to look at an old timesheet or record, and it's disintegrating before our very eyes, and it get to dovetail to my very early experience of payroll. Like a week after I started, I get a call from a retiree who worked for district 20 years ago. Hey, I worked here in the 80s. I don't know if you guys ever reported my sick leave, right? Where then lucky me gets to go dig through some boxes and then figure out, okay, this guy I've never heard of. Okay, you were from 83 to 84. Let's try and put this paper trail together. And, this is a way to bring that all up to digital technology. We can scan it. It can be a living document and creates the opportunity for, it's stored. It's not, in a hard format where then we get it, we're running out of filing cabinets, especially in Sky. If you've been in their office, there are already wall to wall with filing cabinets. I think if we add any more that are any bigger, it's going to start messing the floor up. I don't, I'm not exactly 100% on what the, weight capacity for these things are, but as more and more paper becomes stuff we have to hold on to, it's, an avenue to start moving forward in that direction. So.
Will they come in to digitize the past stuff?
There are companies that would do that service. I would recommend that, we do it ourselves. There would be minimal investment in scanners for, different offices of using previous district as past practice of, okay, we're doing our current year stuff. As it comes in, we're scanning it. And simultaneously, we're working through the backlog to eventually get everything scanned. It's all together. It's a slightly more interactive version of, some of these My Documents folder being cloud-based. You're not tied to, okay, I can only access it on this one computer. Folks that have licenses will have a username password, but they're able to interact with, if they got to look something up and they're, with Sally, they can, quickly log onto her computer or something like that. It doesn't have to be, okay, let me go to my office, I'll send you the file. Or I'll have to dig out, the hard copy from a cabinet, and, it makes it more accessible, easier to work with and everything else.
So would the system just manage the content? So I could just log into the cloud, I need to find reports from 2018 for Bob Smith, it's filed and all that?
Yeah, as things get scanned in, you can edit the metadata. So say we're using in business or payroll, anything that's coming in for payroll timesheets, whatever gets scanned, it has the capability of looking at printed text and doing the OCR so that it can read, okay, I see text, I can decipher that and convert it into, Bob Smith. Here's everything, something gets scanned in, it picks up Bob Smith, it's putting it in a folder specifically for Bob Smith. Another district that, a former district of mine that is doing it, started it after me, they have it set up where their payroll scans, okay, their timesheet's there, somebody gets injured on workers' comp, the workers' comp form, it lives in a workers' comp area, but it also lives in the employee file, so that, there's multiple avenues of getting to that information, and once it's scanned, it's little labor intensive to get set up, but it will, be able to, pull and redirect without, okay, I scanned it to my computer, it's in my email, I gotta drag and drop it into whatever folder I want to and rename it, and if I need to add, metadata or, go into the settings of the PDF and have it OCR so I can search text later. It does that immediately from the scan if the right legwork is put behind it.
And you said it's forever, so if you decided to, years down the road, go with a different content provider or what have you, would they seamlessly move all that content over to another provider, or you have to continue with this same provider forever?
It has an annual license, so there is an annual fee to go with it, like most software as a service this day, I believe there are ways to integrate, okay, you have data in there and you need to export it into something else. There are companies and vendors that will work with Laserfish to do that, where Laserfish is it's different than just, okay, well, we just have Adobe, where it's the overarching thing, and then there are third-party vendors that work underneath it of, okay, that, we do form specialization, we do workflow process specialization, so they do an annual conference that I went to, frankly, too close for the start of COVID for comfort, but anyway, of where, okay, they do their annual conference, but there's a way, and then there's a message boards and system around everything, built community of, okay, this is what, even within school districts, everybody's a little bit different, so, there are folks that help, okay, what are your needs, not just, okay, here's, this is what we do, whether or not it works for you or not, round hole, square peg kind of deal, or said that backwards, but whatever, you get the gist, hopefully. So, anyway, I just wanted to talk about it so that, if it does get approved and we, it works out for us and you keep seeing the name again, it's not like, we already paid for this, what are we doing? But, if it works out for those two departments and, if it can scale, at least, you have hopefully the cursory understanding of what it is, and I haven't rambled too long and lost everybody. So.
Okay.
When I looked this up, I immediately called my son because he started a multi-million-dollar cloud company back in Tennessee. And I was asking him about it. He said, you got 1,000 submissions per month. It cost me $1,800. That's not much. Then you got to worry about your annual fees every year.
Mm-hmm.
He suggested something like maybe Dan might be able to input on Office 365 forms as PowerPoint Flow Office 365 provides a discount for education schools and that. Is there anything like that we could use that can do this type of service for us?
We're a Google district, so we wouldn't want to transition over to using Office 365. We're totally bought into the Google platform. In my opinion, Laserfish will work well for us in terms of just getting the paper files that are in the business office and the special education department, because it's I would call it a liability. I mean, to have all of these paper files that are deteriorating and difficult to find, and when we need information, it makes it very difficult. So if we can scan them and digitize them, make them permanent records, it'll be highly beneficial for us. And Laserfiche is, I believe, the industry standard for K-12 education for this process.
And there's no software through Microsoft or Google that could do the same thing at a lower cost? I'm not understanding. Is submission, is it, here's this email. Is that one? So I get 1,000 of them a month and I'm done for $1,800? Is that what it's telling me? Because I save that many emails every month myself.
No, yeah, this would be totally separate from just the email part. This would be.
Yeah, but would a submission be one piece of paper?
It would be, if we are doing, if it's set up where we have a form instead of a hard copy for an RFP for a school segment. So, front office sends in their RFP, they need tape, pens, whatever, toner for the copier. Sending that form would be, that's what that submission would be. And really, 1,000, if we got 1,000 RFPs a month, we need like 4 or 5 Talias in there instead of just the one we have to process that amount of paperwork coming through. So that's what I mean. It's not just we got, years worth of records. Okay, we're scanning something. Okay, that's not what it's looking at as the form. We can scan it, 24/7 if we want to do in terms of that regard of the record retention piece. So it's not just you ran, okay, we're at our quota of 1,000 pages for the month. Stop scanning, please, everybody. But hit the sleep button on that, and we'll pick it up on the 1st. We got a week now.
I see his concern.
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying, like, okay, if all these documents are coming in, they may not all be RFPs, they may be different documents.
Mhm.
If you have to go back and digitize all the other content, what's the upload? Is it 100 pages, is it 10, is it 15, depending on what you have to do backlog wise? There are lots of services out there, I work in SAS. So, cost wise, there's probably other options. I don't know, what this is, but I know, becoming virtual and digital is very important. I get that. I just looking at the cost and the limitation of the submissions and, each user, you need 7 and, blah, blah, blah. I understand your concern. And is this the only option that you have?
We tried another program, like Jim was saying, that was built on top of Google Suite called AO Docs. That's like a competitor to Laserfiche. But it was not a successful project, and it was the software is just not built out like Laserfiche. So I think you're going to get what you pay for.
Can we try to maybe just go out and give us something side by side, a couple different companies so we can look at?
Yeah.
Before because this is basically taking us up another $9,000-$10,000 a year cost of doing business, and it don't seem much when we got $40 million, but it adds up.
Or maybe they can give us free training and save $1,100.
I would like to see that. I would like to see a couple different companies and see what else is out there.
I can do I don't know I assume AO Docs is still in business, but we worked with them a few years ago. I can set up a demo of AO Docs, assuming they're still in business.
And see if there's any other companies out there that
Jim,
does it.
if I may add, it's not just the companies. Let's see what software that may be in development that we don't know about. Because there might be something out there faster, cheaper, better. We don't know. So it's kind of like we used to do an RFP. That would be, well, I'll give you a perfect example. Had a gentleman came in, wanted a $25,000 piece of gear. I found another one that was $5,000, did the same job. I told him if he wanted that $25,000 piece of gear, he had to write a sole source justification. He took the $5,000. So did the same thing. But we need to look at not just what's there, what's other agencies are using as well. Maybe they've got a better a better idea, a better deal. So there's other things to look at. I just wanted to bring it up, being that when we started to go digital, we threw everything into DVDs and CDs in order to make sure that we had plenty of storage. I understand the storage problem. And that's, when you got documents on top of documents, eventually you're gonna run out of space. So we need to clear it. And even in real estate, we got into it real quick and just started digitizing. And of course, we only had, that was my other question for anybody. Is there a limit on how long we can keep something and store it? I know some things you can't, but are there other documents? Say, for instance, RFPs. Because personnel documents, I understand, would have to be kept longer. But there's gotta be other documents. How long do we have to keep them? So that's another question, at least in my mind.
And as far as
Enough said for me.
record retention for invoices, accounts payable fees, 5 to 7 years. But theoretically, say you're looking 10 years back at facilities funding, and 5 to 7 years have passed. If there's a digital archive of this ready to go, that you can just type in keywords and search, we have an avenue forward that, less labor intensive, less, hoping and praying somebody took their paper folder, set it down somewhere, fell behind a shelf, spilled coffee all over it, or just was like, I don't need it anymore, it's going in the shred bin. We've, met our obligation to keep you. If anybody has any questions about you, hopefully there's a note somewhere, but,
Now, question, this company that we're dealing with,
Mhm.
if they went out of business, what would happen to all our documents?
You better send a CD.
A whole bunch of them.
Yeah, for the scale I'm thinking, hopefully it's more than one CD, because otherwise we definitely did not utilize it properly.
CD will drop.
Yeah. But if they were to go out of business, I have to imagine there would be, and that's completely but processes of, hey, we're going out of business, there's gonna be an avenue for you to not completely lose everything you've got. Not a like for like example, but years ago doing inventory for Muroc Unified when I worked there, built a beautiful inventory spreadsheet of, okay, here's our fixed assets, here's how much it costs, here's everything to go with it. And then like 2 months after I was done, get an email of, okay, yeah, this service is as of December 31st will no longer be used, yada, 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 where I'm like, fantastic, I just used, this for months on end to get, stuff up to date, and then you're going with, so, at that point it was, okay, you have the ability to export everything you put into this, so that, it's not just, we're gone, the lights are shut off, goodbye, like, there was the avenue to, pull your data out, and then if you, into at least an Excel file or a CSV file, so that, upload it into something else in that case. So I have to imagine it would be something similar, like they've been around for years. They're not a brand new startup or anything like that. We don't know what kind of, shelf life they have. They just, bust out onto the scene, said, blockchain, and now people have thrown money at them. They have been around. They are established. Multiple districts use them. Multiple city and county governments use them. Like it's,
I think it's something we're definitely gonna have to do. I'd just like you to look for a couple other avenues that we can look at.
So you wish to table this?
I like the table until we get more bids or quotes or.
Yeah.
We get the energy there too.
So we have a motion to table.
I make a motion table.
Second. That's one?
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so it's tabled to Personnel items. Approve the following list of personnel items. These are just hires.
And this is no new positions, right? I didn't see any.
We are, as far as our classified positions, they're all positions that have been vacant. There's no new positions. There were a lot of positions last year that while we were on distance learning, we did not need to fill. So we're trying to fill many of those now. And, you know, like I said earlier, we've been doing interviews every day in an effort to get all of those filled. We have posted some and filled some sports positions. We have our teacher positions that we have hired, and then we also have some staff that have received their preliminary credentials, and then also some that have moved over on the column, and that is notated over here. And then down at the bottom, this is our, we're asking for approval to have some of our teachers that are working on a credential that are currently in waiver status. And then we also have a teacher that is going to be picked this year. So, and that's a provisional permit.
And that's all legal now, so we can do that.
Yes, and so there's some new legislation that's coming down that has, you know, changed some of the qualifications that kept some of the teachers from moving forward. So they are talking about eliminating the CBES and the CSETs. So that has, you know, helped some of our staff to be able to move forward and getting those credentials.
Let me ask you a question. We had, last year we had to let some teachers go or maybe not teachers, but personnel go that they weren't credentialed. Now we're allowed to bring them back. Did we offer to bring them back or?
We have everybody that we, you know, were able to bring back. We certainly did.
Okay.
So, yeah, we're working you know, teachers, gen ed teachers are difficult to find. Special ed teachers are really hard to find. But really we feel like we're putting our best foot forward and, you know, for our kids because, you know, being the year of the student this year, you know, we really want to add to our staff, you know, to really we already have a great staff and we want to, you know, put some teachers in there that are going to complement that and, you know, have a great 2022 school year.
Awesome. Okay. Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Bender, second by Hepburn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, before we move on, Jennifer, welcome aboard. I've heard some great things about her, and I'm very excited to have her with us. And that's her back there.
I have abandoned her in the corner.
I'm just excited, so.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. I was actually going to say you just approved our new assistant principal, Jennifer. If you just stand up, this is Miss or Mrs.?
Mrs.
Mrs. Jennifer Sloan, and we welcome her to Southern Kern, and she's going to be working with Mr. Adams at Tropico Middle School. So welcome aboard.
Okay,
Now I make a motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Mr. Moore, second by Bender. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye.